In California, the governor even placed a bounty on native heads, $5 per scalp, when a worker's daily wage was less than $2. But perhaps the most infamous policy was the Indian Removal Act of 1830. Signed by President Andrew Jackson, it forced more than 100,000 Native Americans off their ancestral lands in the South. Entire families were marched at gunpoint into unknown territory west of the Mississippi. This brutal journey became known as the Trail of Tears. Day after day, they walked 16 miles through scorching heat and freezing cold. Starvation, disease, and exhaustion killed thousands. Mothers carried dying children in their arms. By the end, nearly half of those forced to move had perished. What the United States called expansion was in reality ethnic cleansing. Native homelands were taken, food sources destroyed, sacred places lost forever. And yet, this was only one chapter in a much larger story of massacre. By the mid-1800s, America's hunger for land had turned into a blood-soaked frenzy. The discovery of gold in California in 1848 drew more than 300,000 white settlers westward. For Native communities, it meant disaster. Their farms were destroyed, rivers poisoned, and when they protested, they were slaughtered. Between 1846 and 1873, more than 16,000 Native Californians were killed, hunted like animals in their own homeland. The population collapsed from 150,000 to just 30,000 within a single generation. On November 29, 1864, came the Sand Creek Massacre. A peaceful Cheyenne and Arapaho village flew a white flag, believing they were safe under U.S. protection. Instead, 700 soldiers under Colonel John Chivington stormed in at dawn. Men were gunned down, women were raped, children were scalped, bodies were mutilated, their heads displayed as trophies in Denver. Survivors called it a village of widows and orphans. And then, in 1890, came the Wounded Knee Massacre, the event that symbolized the destruction of Native resistance. Lakota families had gathered for a spiritual ceremony called the Ghost Dance, praying for the return of their ancestors and the buffalo. The U.S. Army surrounded them. A single shot was fired, and soldiers opened fire with Hotchkiss machine guns. In minutes, over 250 men, women, and children were cut down.